phenomenon is what I like to say, because the growing period and the fermentation period is like a Chardonnay, but it has all the but then it has these amazing flavors that knock you out like reds are capable of having. So and I gotta say, and I don't like to be biased, because I think that one of the things that Joe does best is cabs, which you're going to get a chance to taste next. But this Pinot is phenomenal, and he's about to tell you why it's phenomenal. But it's as smooth of a Pinot and as amazing of a Pinot as I've ever tasted. And cheers to you, Joe, for getting this Pinot to where it is today. But cheers. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Joe to explain the Pinot. But
I'll keep short-winded. Yeah, you're reading.
I can get more to the drinking.
I understand.
Heavy taste.
Yes. Anyway, did you enjoy that pairing of the food and the Chardonnay?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Good. We were talking a little bit about the 07 vintage, and for us in California, statewide, it was just a beautiful vintage from beginning to end. If you were in the wine business or getting into the wine business for the 07 vintage, you'd want to stay in. Everybody would want to do it. It was really smooth, no issues with rain, no wind, no cold weather. When we hit our stride in ripening season in August through September, all the way to the end of October, I swear it was within 80, 82 degrees the whole time, which is a perfect temperature for grapes. So very even ripening season, great flavor development in all the wines, from Chardonnay all the way through to Cabernets, all the way down the Central Coast as well. And so the Chardonnay had a really good amount of acid still in it. And Jeff was asking me, hey, why is this different from the 06 vintage? And the 06, we had a lot of heat, and the vines respire a lot of that acid out of themselves, out of the grapes themselves when that happens. In 07, nice, cool, even, more acid, longer aging wine. Early on might be a little more structured, but will age really nicely and will smooth out over the course of time. On the opposite side, you'd say the same thing about the Pinot Noirs, but this particular wine is are grapes that are Pinot Noir variety, but are also clones of Pinot Noir within the variety that are newer clones from Dijon, France. And they came into California about 15 years ago when we had a lot of problems with phylloxera, and the phylloxera basically killed the vineyards, and we had to replant a lot of the vineyards in California, especially in the North Coast. And people decided that, okay, Pinot Noir is getting popular, we're not going to plant the clones that were in there before that were set for sparkling wine. Big clusters, lots of clusters per vine, kind of very pleasant but not really deep wines for still wine, red wine, Pinot Noir. So a lot of these Dijon clones were brought in, small clusters, more intense, and that's what's making up this particular wine. There's 3 of these new Dijon clones, and whoever the PR person is for the wine industry blew it on this because they're all numbered. There's 777 and 115, and the old clones were Baidensville and Pomar and all these nice names. But anyway, they all produce a grape slightly different than the others. Some are darker, some are more fruit forward, and this is a blend of 3 of those. So again, small production, about 10 barrels. This is in the Sonoma Coast appellation, which is a big appellation. It was a big political football for the wine industry that some larger companies really wanted to have happen. But the Russian River appellation is within Sonoma Coast, and this is also Russian River appellation as well as being Sonoma Coast. Just to the west of this town of Santa Rosa, going out toward the Bodega Bay area. Cool, Pinot loves to grow there. Moderate crop again. I hope you enjoy it with the duck. It should go well.
Describe the wine to us.
Excuse me?
Describe the wine to us from your perspective.
I'm not going to do that till you taste.
I know I've been tasting for some time.
Have that duck and then meet me over here and then we'll talk about it. I can tell you what I get out of there and you can read the notes, but I think it's more key what you get out of there than what I tell you. But there's a lot of cherry, raspberry fruit, which is pretty typical for Pinot Noir for me. I don't have a tendency stylistically, and Jeff doesn't have that want either, to have oak overpower the fruit. So really try to show you the vineyard, show you the variety itself as a true fruit characteristic, and use oak as a complexity component and the aging of that oak using French barrels. All the Chardonnay, all the Pinot Noirs, 100% French barrel aged, and they're just more subtle than the American oak. We'll talk about that a little bit with the cab, but subtle, yeah, more complex, and as this ages along, it'll even get more complex. Enjoy yourself.
Cheers.
Cheers.